Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a question. How many decisions in your life have you regretted simply because you allowed your emotions to take the driver's seat? Emotions are powerful. They can lift you to the mountain or drag you into the valley. But let me remind you, emotions were never designed to be your master. They were designed to be your servants. You see, too many people today are living as prisoners of their feelings. They fall in love by feelings. They walk away from commitments by feelings. They destroy their future by feelings. And then they ask, why is my life in chaos? Hear me today. If your emotions control your destiny, you are not living by principle, you are living by impulse. Let me tell you something very important. Emotions are temporary, but the future you are building is eternal. Feelings rise like the tide and fall like the tide. One moment you are joyful, the next moment you are in despair. One moment you are in love, the next moment you are full of anger. That is the nature of feelings. They are unstable, unreliable, and unpredictable. But destiny is stable. Calling is stable, but destiny is stable. Your tomorrow depends not on how you feel today, but on the choices you make in spite of how you feel. Think for a moment, how many lives have been shattered because a man or a woman allowed a passing emotion to make a permanent decision? A young man feels offended in a moment of anger and takes a weapon to solve what his mind could have resolved with patience. Now he spends a lifetime behind bars because of 5 minutes of uncontrolled feeling. A young woman feels lonely, and instead of waiting for the right relationship, she gives herself away to anyone who shows attention. For a moment of affection, she sacrifices years of self-worth. That is what happens when you allow what is temporary to decide what should be eternal. History is filled with the wreckage of emotional choices. Nations have been destroyed because leaders reacted out of fear instead of leading with wisdom. Communities have been divided because people spoke from wounded feelings instead of sober judgment. Homes have been torn apart because husbands and wives allowed anger to dominate rather than reconciliation to heal. And today, society is full of people who react on social media in seconds, damaging reputations that took decades to build, all because of emotion without restraint. I say to you, never give your emotions the keys to your future. Let me make it plain. You don't marry because you feel butterflies. You marry because you are ready to build. You don't walk away from responsibility because you feel tired. You remain faithful because lives depend on your consistency. You don't choose leaders because of charm. You choose them because of character. Emotions blind you, but principle opens your eyes. And this is not just about personal life. This is about the community, the generation coming behind us. If we keep teaching our children to follow every emotion, we raise a society without discipline, a nation without stability, a future without leaders. The younger ones are watching us. They are learning whether we lead by reaction or by wisdom. If we don't master our emotions, they will inherit a world ruled by impulse instead of truth. So hear me clearly. Your feelings may visit, but they are not your foundation. Your emotions may speak, but they are not your compass. Build your life on decisions that outlast your moods. Build on values that remain steady when everything inside of you is shaking. Because at the end of the day, nobody remembers how you felt. They remember what you built. Nobody honors your emotions, they honor your impact. And no one can build a legacy on feelings. They can only build it on wisdom, discipline, and truth. Never allow the temporary to destroy the eternal. Never allow a fleeting feeling to rewrite your destiny. Guard your future from the foolishness of emotions. and lead with the strength of wisdom. Well, let me tell you something. Passion without principle is dangerous. Passion can make you excited, but principle will keep you steady. Passion can set you on fire, but principle will stop you from burning down the house. Too many people are living their lives driven by passion, by excitement, by impulse, by desire, yet they have no foundation beneath their feet. And when the storms come, they collapse because passion cannot hold you, only principle can. Have you noticed how passion rises quickly but fades just as fast? Look around you. People start businesses with passion, but when the challenges come, they quit. Couples fall in love with passion, but when real life hits them with bills, children, and responsibilities, the fire cools and they walk away. Passion makes noise, but principle makes structure. Principle is law. It does not bend to how you feel. If you jump off a building, passionately believing you can fly, gravity will still bring you down. Why? Because passion does not cancel principle. We live in a world that glorifies feelings over foundation. Society tells you, follow your heart. But what if your heart is blind? What if your heart is wounded? What if your heart is deceived? You don't follow a heart that changes. You follow principles that remain. That's why we must teach this generation that passion can start the race, but principle will help you finish it. Passion gets applause, but principle gains respect. Look at our communities. Many of the problems we see today are the result of people choosing passion over principle. Leaders make promises with passion but govern without integrity, leaving people broken and disillusioned. Young men chase money with passion but abandon education and discipline and end up trapped in cycles of poverty and crime. Our neighborhoods are filled with noise, excitement, and entertainment. But where are the principles of unity, of justice, of responsibility? Without principle, passion only destroys what it was meant to build. So here is the truth. You cannot build a strong marriage, a strong career, or a strong nation on passion alone. You must anchor it on principle, values that do not move, truths that do not shift, laws that do not change. Because when passion dies, principle still stands. When the excitement is gone, principle will keep you committed. And when the world applauds your feelings but forgets your failures, principle will protect your legacy. So I challenge you today, do not be ruled by the fire of passion. Be guided by the light of principle. Live your life anchored in discipline, anchored in truth, anchored in values that cannot be shaken. Because passion will get you started, but principle will take you to the finish. Choose principle over passion, and your life will stand strong when others fall. Choose principle over passion, and you will not only survive, you will build something worth remembering. Vision is greater than emotion because vision sees beyond the moment, while emotion is trapped inside the moment. Emotions scream for attention right now, but vision whispers about a future that is yet to come. If you live by what you feel, you will always react to what is in front of you. But if you live by vision, you will respond to what is ahead of you. That is why people who lack vision are always tossed around. They cry today, laugh tomorrow, and collapse the next day because they have no anchor beyond what they see. Imagine a sailor in the middle of the ocean without a compass. The waves rise, the wind shifts, and the boat moves whichever way the current pushes. That is how life feels without vision. You are at the mercy of your emotions. Anger pushes you east, fear drags you west. Desire pulls you south, and regret pulls you north. You may feel the storm, but you don't lose direction. You may cry in the night, but you still know we're going in the morning. I've seen too many lives cut short, not because they lack talent, but because they lacked vision. A man feels the thrill of quick money and abandons his education only to discover later that he traded a steady future for a fleeting rush. A young woman feels pressured by society to look successful on the outside, so she spends what she doesn't have, drowning in debt, while her real dreams rot in neglect. This is what happens when emotions run wild without vision to govern them. Our communities suffer the same way. Whole neighborhoods are driven by temporary emotion rather than collective vision. We protest today in anger, but tomorrow we are silent because the feeling has passed. We celebrate temporary relief, but we forget to fight for lasting change. Without vision, communities live in cycles, momentary excitement followed by disappointment, then back again. Vision is what breaks the cycle and creates a movement that outlasts the mood of the moment. So I ask you, what is guiding your life right now? Is it your emotions or is it your vision? Emotions can make you quit your marriage in the heat of an argument, but vision will remind you of the covenant you made. Emotions can make you abandon your assignment when it gets hard, but vision will remind you of the generations depending on you. Emotions can tell you to fight your neighbor, but vision will remind you to build a community worth handing to your children. Hear me today. Vision is not a luxury, it is survival. Without it, you are at the mercy of your feelings. With it, you rise above them. And when your vision is clear, even your emotions begin to serve it. Your joy fuels it, your anger protects it, your passion advances it. Do not live by what you feel, live by what you see ahead. Because feelings pass, but vision endures. Feelings fade, but vision builds. And only those who live by vision will stand when the storm has passed. Wisdom guards against impulse, because wisdom is the ability to see the end before the beginning. Impulse only sees the thrill of the moment, but wisdom looks at the consequences. When a man acts on impulse, he may win a moment but lose a lifetime. When a woman acts on impulse, she may satisfy a craving but sacrifice her dignity. But when wisdom rules, it slows you down, it makes you pause, it whispers, think again, look ahead, consider the cost. That is why people who walk in wisdom may not always move fast, but they always move strong. Impulse is dangerous because it feels right in the moment. Anger feels justified when your pride is hurt. Spending it feels rewarding when desire is screaming. Revenge feels satisfying when you've been wronged. But when the dust settles, regret comes knocking. How many times have people stood over broken relationships, empty bank accounts, or destroyed reputations, saying, I don't know what came over me. What came over them was impulse, unguarded by wisdom. Think of Samson, strong, gifted, powerful, but impulsive. He saw, he wanted, he acted, no thought for tomorrow, and the enemy uses impulse to trap him. That's the same strategy today. If the enemy can't destroy you with weakness, he will destroy you with impulse. Because impulse blinds you to long-term vision. It makes you react instead of reflect. And when you live reacting, you become easy to control. Look around at our society. Whole communities are falling because of impulse. Violence erupts in minutes because someone reacts without thinking. Families break apart because someone chases a temporary thrill. Young people abandon discipline because the pull of instant gratification is louder than the call of wisdom. And nations, yes, nations, go to war because leaders react with impulse instead of reasoning with wisdom. This is why the world is unstable, not because we lack intelligence, but because we lack restraint. But wisdom is different. Wisdom steps back. Wisdom asks, if I do this, what will it cost me tomorrow? Wisdom says, even though I feel it, not everything I feel deserves a response. Wisdom is not weakness. Wisdom is power under control. It's the ability to master yourself before life masters you. And this is what we must teach the next generation. If our children only inherit our impulses, they will repeat our mistakes. But if they inherit wisdom, they will build what we failed to build. They will think before they speak, reflect before they act, and consider before they choose. Communities built on wisdom rise above chaos. Communities built on impulse destroy themselves from the inside. So hear me. Wisdom is not optional. It is survival. It is the wall that protects you from the destruction of impulse. And until you choose wisdom over impulse, your future remains at risk. Do not let impulse steal your destiny. Guard your life with wisdom, and you will outlast storms, outlive mistakes, and leave behind a legacy that will not crumble. Self-control is one of the most misunderstood powers a human being can possess. Many people think self-control is weakness, that it is silence when you should speak, or passivity when you should act. But let me tell you the truth. Self-control is not weakness. It is strength refined. It is authority over your own impulses. It is dominion over your inner world. The strongest man in the room is not the one who can conquer cities, but the one who can conquer himself. Think for a moment. What good is it if you can control armies, but you cannot control your temper? What benefit is it if you can manage corporations, but you cannot manage your appetite? What value is success if your own addictions destroy the very life you built? A lack of self-control has brought down kings, leaders, athletes, and entire nations. History shows us that brilliance without discipline leads to collapse. We live in a generation that celebrates freedom but despises restraint. People say, I do what I feel, I say what I think, I live how I want. But that is not freedom, that is slavery to emotion. Real freedom is not doing what you want. Real freedom is having the power to say no when everything in you screams yes. It is the ability to resist what will destroy you and embrace what will preserve you. Look around at our communities. Young men destroy their future with substance abuse because they lack self-control. Families suffer because parents refuse to control their words, wounding each other with reckless speech. Violence fills our streets because people cannot control their anger long enough to resolve conflict with wisdom. Social media has become a battlefield because people cannot control their thumbs before they type, post, and destroy reputations in seconds. This is not power. This is weakness parading as expression. Self-control is not suppression. It is not burying your feelings. It is channeling them. It is turning anger into energy for justice. It is turning desire into fuel for achievement. It is turning passion into discipline that builds, not destroys. When you master yourself, you become unshakable. When you govern your emotions, no one can manipulate you. When you rule your inner world, nothing in the outer world can overthrow you. And here is the message we must give to our children and our society. Without self-control, there is no lasting success. A community that cannot control its desires will consume itself. A nation that cannot control its greed will collapse under corruption. A people that cannot control their anger will always be at war. But where there is self-control, there is stability, there is peace, there is growth. So hear me clearly. The greatest victory you will ever win is not against your enemy, but against yourself. The greatest crown you will ever wear is not the applause of men, but the quiet dignity of discipline. Rule yourself, and you will rule your world. Lose yourself, and you lose everything. The power to master your destiny begins with the power to master you. Destiny demands discipline because every great future is born out of small, consistent choices. You do not arrive at greatness overnight. You do not stumble into a meaningful life by accident. Destiny is not magic. It is the fruit of discipline. And the tragedy is that many people have the talent. Many have the opportunities. Many even have the vision. But they never arrive because they refuse the weight of discipline. They want the crown, but not the training. They want the harvest, but not the planting. They want the glory, but not the grind. Discipline is the bridge between what you see and what you will live. Without it, you will keep dreaming, but never building. Look at the athlete. He trains when no one is watching. He wakes early, eats carefully, and denies himself comfort. Why? Because he knows the medal is not given on the day of the race, it is earned in the hidden hours of discipline. That same principle applies to every life. The student who disciplines himself to study while others waste time will lead tomorrow. The man who disciplines his spending when others waste will be secure tomorrow. The woman who disciplines her tongue when others gossip will be trusted tomorrow. Our communities are failing not because we lack brilliance, but because we lack discipline. We want wealth without work, influence without integrity, progress without patience. We build programs with passion but abandon them when challenges arise. We start initiatives with excitement but refuse the discipline of consistency. That is why so many neighborhoods have projects that never last, promises that never materialize, and leaders that never finish what they started. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is the foundation of lasting change. Destiny requires you to tell yourself no when everything in you screams yes. It demands that you walk away from temporary pleasure for long-term gain. It requires that you rise when it is easier to sleep, that you speak truth when it is easier to be silent, that you stand firm when it is easier to follow the crowd. And if you cannot discipline your body, your mind, and your habits, you will never handle the weight of destiny. Let us be honest. Many lives are ruined not by enemies, but by laziness. Many dreams are abandoned, not because of obstacles, but because of excuses. We blame systems, governments, people, and even God. But the truth is this: destiny bows to discipline, not to excuses. And until you embrace discipline, you will always live short of what was meant to be. So hear me with clarity. Discipline may feel painful, but it protects you from the pain of regret. Discipline may feel heavy, but it carries the weight of greatness. Discipline may feel lonely, but it produces the reward of legacy. Destiny is waiting, but only the discipline will arrive. Train yourself, guard yourself, rule yourself, because destiny is not given to the wistful, it is entrusted to the disciplined. Every word you have heard today has carried one urgent call. Stop letting emotions sabotage your future. Feelings will rise and fall, but principles remain. Vision stands when moods collapse. Wisdom protects you when impulse calls. Self-control arms you with strength from within. And discipline carves the path where destiny waits. This is not just about you, it is about generations yet unborn. The choices you make now will echo into your family, your community, and your nation. So today I challenge you, make a decision to no longer be a prisoner of your feelings. Make a vow to rise above impulse. Make a commitment to live by principles that do not change, to follow vision that does not fade, to embrace wisdom that does not fail, to practice self-control that does not bow, and to walk in discipline that will carry you to the end. The world is tired of emotional fools. The world is waiting for steady men and women, leaders, fathers, mothers, young people who can be trusted not because of what they feel, but because of how they live. This is the hour to rise. This is the hour to break free. This is the hour to take responsibility for your own destiny and lead your community into stability, justice, and strength. Do not waste your life on temporary feelings. Build your life on eternal truths. And remember, history does not remember those who were emotional. It remembers those who were faithful. Good luck on your journey of discipline, wisdom, and vision. May you rise above your emotions and become everything you were destined to be. Thank you.